Yeah, I've got no sound here.
All right. Is everybody with us?
I don't know. Looks like just me and Michael, I think.
Yeah. Can anybody in the comments? I mean, everybody else see us though.
Don't know.
It might just be us three. Okay. But guys, I'm going to go ahead and just apologize. I'm not really sure. David had the login, and I thought that I had it, so I apologize for not getting that going. Can everybody hear everybody okay? Okay.
Yeah, it looks like they can.
Well, hopefully this would have worked out a little bit smoother than it did. We wouldn't have get started 15, 16 minutes late. But thanks everybody for sticking around with us through those technical difficulties. And so let's just go ahead and jump into it. So I'm Dusty Jolley, and I'm the community manager at Drone Launch Connect. I've got a really bad echo, so it's. Can anybody hear that echo? Is it not bothering anybody else? Okay.
I can't really hear it, Dusty.
Okay, so real quick background about myself is, I've always been in sales, medical sales, commercial insurance, but I've always had a passion for anything remote control. And in 2017, was into racing dirt bikes, had an accident, had to sell my dirt bike, and figured out I was just going to buy a drone. So I bought a Mavic 2 Pro, and really fell in love with it. Didn't really expect to do much out of it, but 6 months after that, my Part 107. And then just really kind of started exploring what I could do with it from that point on. And that's when I first ran across Drone Launch Academy. This is actually, let me switch mics real quick, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, is that any better? Does that sound any different?
It sounds okay to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually have sound now.
Oh, I can hear you too, Michael.
Yay.
Okay, I don't know what that was. Sorry about that, guys. All right. Long story short, in the middle of COVID, got big into FPV, and then saw an ad come through one of the Drone Launch Academy emails looking to hire somebody. Responded to that, and then that's when I first connected with David. And what he was telling me his idea about this community, because when they sell the Drone Launch Academy courses, they all typically would put them into cohort groups, and a lot of the feedback that he was getting was that a lot of people saw a lot of value in the cohort groups being able to connect with other people that are going through the same experience at the same time. And so, long story short, out of that was kind of the impetus for Drone Launch Connect, which is the online community that we've got. So Helen Keller first said, alone we can do little, but together we can do a lot. Now, Helen Keller was not the best drone pilot in the world, but she is very spot on with community. And I'm sorry, I keep saying that the audio is choppy, and I think it's something to do with the way that I'm set up. I've got I can see me 3 different times here, so something's definitely going on. But, one of the things that being a drone pilot, a lot of times you're doing this by yourself. So you're kind of a lone wolf. You're trying to figure out what you're going to do with your 107. It's rare that you actually do have a, friends or somebody else that's interested, whether it be a spouse. So a lot of times you're doing this on your own. So anytime that you can surround yourself with somebody else, a group of people that are like-minded and focused and just passionate about the same things, you're going to accelerate your growth and you're going to get better at it. And so that's one of the things that really are the reasons for this webinar is really just focusing on just community and making sure that you're surrounding yourself with the support that you need. So Drone Launch Connect was one of those things that started off about a year and a half ago. And when David and I first started putting this together, we started coming up with all these different ideas on what we could do that would bring value to drone pilots. So we've got, every other week I do a live expert Q&A with an industry expert where it's a Zoom meeting. The members get to come on and ask their questions directly. We have drone discounts accessory discounts. We have a library of workshops. It's got over 20 different workshops in it. And we've also got, I think, 32 past recorded live Q&A sessions right now that are up for all the members to watch. But in a recent poll with some of the members, we found out is that the biggest value for the members to stick around, what really keeps them there is just the community. And so we do probably 6 or 7 live events each month. And out of just the Drone Launch Connect community, there has been a lot of friendships, business partners, all sorts of different relationships formed at that point. And so, Michael, I see you making some funny faces there, but we were going to have on a few more guys with us. But that being said, we did have some technical difficulties, but I'll go ahead and just introduce these two guys. And I'll tell you that everybody that I was going to have on here, especially these two, are just very special to me. I've got a chance to meet them both in person at our live event that we do. We did our first one back in late September of last year in Florida, and we're going to do another one this year. But basically, it's a 2-day event to get together and hang out. But the cool thing about our community is it's just a group of people, guys and girls, that are passionate about drones. Either they have the 107 or maybe the 107, want to start a business, already got a business, but it's just a big mastermind group of people and experiences that all kind of work together and help each other out. And that's the cool thing that I think separates our community from the other ones. So I'm going to shut up and go ahead and introduce. We got Alan Swenson here. He is from Louisiana with 321 Aerial Services. Michael Lilley, Wet Dog Drones out of Colorado. So, Alan, if you don't mind, introduce yourself. Get a quick background of yourself, how you got your drones, and what's your experience with the drone launch community.
Okay. Yeah, I retired from the post office in first part of 21, and prior to my retirement, you always think, well, what am I going to do? There's something I want to do, and kind of just not necessarily to make money, but keep yourself occupied and interested. And so I got involved in drones, and a lot of y'all out there might have took Alex Harris's course through Drone Launch Academy. Was it Aerial Video Drone? I can't even remember the name of it. Aerial Video A to Z, and that really brought me in and saw the value where you could use drones. And I loved his course. If you haven't taken it, I highly recommend it. He's no nonsense. I see you twice, Dusty.
I'm working.
But anyways, I got my Part 107 in September 21, and then I took some more Drone Launch Academy courses, some mapping, roof inspection. So they always tell you to find a niche. So I tried to focus on mapping and roof inspections. And so I kind of kicked off my 321 Aerial Services August of 2022, and haven't been as busy as I like to be. And some of that's my fault because I haven't been probably being retired. I guess I'm not trying to make a living. I haven't marketed myself the way I should have, but I've done several paid jobs and kind of starting to branch out. And Michael kind of helped inspire this as well, doing some 360 virtual stuff with the drones and the ground photography, and starting to branch off that to add because it pairs well with the drones. And got involved with Drone Launch Connect. Probably I didn't join right away. I think it was a month or two after it started, and a little apprehensive about paying to join the community. But what I find the value in it, and just to give you an example, I mean, a lot of us help each other out. One of our guys in the community, he had a job with NOAA, was a National Oceanic at whatever the government agency that does that, and he was wanting to buy some guy's battery. He was selling Mavic 3, and he said, hey, I'll buy you extra batteries. And the guy didn't want to sell them. I just told Kevin, his name's Kevin Olson, Maryland drone guy. I said, hey, I'll let you borrow my batteries. So I sent him my batteries because he was going to be out on a ship and have no way to charge. So it helped him, do that job. And then a couple cases I've had, like Michael Lilley, he's a valuable resource. He does a lot of mapping and very knowledgeable about construction progression. So he's very good about helping you if you need help. But I had a case too. I had a job for a drone provider where they needed somebody to do a live broadcast. And a guy asked me if I ever done one, but they were kind of desperate. All their pilots were tied up. And I said, yeah, I'll figure it out. And we've got a couple guys that have been on our Q&As that are very successful drone providers. And I reached out to them because I knew they had done some live broadcasting with their drones. And they were very helpful. I called them, picked up the phone. These guys, I mean, one of them's won an Emmy for doing some stuff. I don't forget what he won an Emmy for, but he's done a lot of HBO with the Cleveland Browns training camp and stuff. And so he's kind of the drone pilot of the Cleveland Browns. And this other guy, he had just did the U.S. Open last year in Los Angeles. So I reached out to them. They, kind of helped provide me, gave me some information and kind of gave me the confidence that I could do it. So that was nice. So, but like Dusty was saying, it's the community, it's more about community. A lot of times we have get-togethers. We don't even talk about drones. Sometimes we get off on, we talk about other things, which, we do focus on drones, obviously, but, it's just nice to know people are out there because you get started, like Dusty said, in this area, you're by yourself. You feel all alone. Maybe there's people in your local area, but maybe they don't want to talk to you because they, you're competition. So the good thing about all of us, we're all scattered out. We can reach out to one another. We can learn from one another. If we all have a question, we're not embarrassed to ask it. We've all started, we're all learning still. And, it's just a great place to have fellowship and, people are doing something what you're doing, and it makes you feel like you're not all alone in the world. And, and if you do run into an issue, there's somebody in the community that can help you with that. So that's kind of what keeps me. And the Q&As are phenomenal. We get people. I mean, we had a lady, just the last one she's with the FAA, and there's just a ton of information to be had. And, I highly recommend you partaking in it. You're on mute, Dusty.
Sorry, I was laughing. I was reading one of the comments and it said old number camera 5. That was when Alan was doing. He was telling us the story about when he was doing the live event, and they kept saying Alan had the shot, so the director kept saying cuts at camera 5. And was that the number you were camera 5, correct? Or
yeah, I was camera 5. He first he called me drone, then he's going, we're just gonna call you camera 5. So it was exciting. I've never done nothing. I mean, it was for the Louisiana State High School cross country, which is a huge thing. I showed up and I was like, my God, look at the people here. And it was pretty nerve wracking. And he got this guy in my ears, like, pan this, do this, get that, so, but it worked out and it was fun. I'd love to do it again. I hope we get another opportunity to do something like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what I was just saying, that's what the community is about. I mean, those kind of experiences are really cool, but there's only a certain group of people that really understand how cool it is. I've done some jobs and stuff, and I'll come home and tell my wife about it. And I know she gets it. She thinks it's cool, but she just doesn't appreciate it like somebody that is into it as I am. And so that's what's cool about this community. Michael, you got your audio?
I've got ears, but I don't know about here. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yes,
you sound good.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so then I'm here.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and
I guess I'll stop talking.
No, you're good. You don't have to stop doing anything. Yeah. And so, Michael, we can't. All right, here we go. Everybody says we sound good. So, Michael, real quick, if you don't mind, you've got a good story as well. So if you don't mind, just kind of give your background. And
so where do I start? I mean, do we start when I was flying RC planes that weren't really RC planes as a child, that were gas powered, and I ran them with 2 strings, and yeah, that's too far back. No, I got into as far as DLC goes. I think we can verify this. I have the oldest registration with the FAA for a drone. Yeah, even beating David. Yes, it is true. So I've been doing this for a while. I started out flying FPV as Dusty did, and when you crash an FPV drone, and it's $600, and you're making what I used to call screw you money at the refinery. It wasn't a big deal, but that ended, and then I had to find other avenues. And I got out of drones for a little while, and went to work for a construction company. And during my safety orientation, my safety guy pulls out a P4P V2, and he's really proud of it. And it's like, wait, you use that for construction? And he uses it for what I call fluff videos, for basically marketing stuff. And the wheels started turning, and I dug deep into it. And then I tilted windmills for about 3 years before I finally got some traction where there's so much more to do with the drone. And in that 3-year period, my safety guy had tried to fly that P4P inside a structure, and it was nothing but steel studs in there at the time. And well, that didn't go very well. and he crashed it, and then he had to buy a Mavic 2 Pro. But in the meantime, I'm working in the back of the house trying to figure out how we can incorporate drones into the business, because I see the value there. I see it. I just don't know how to articulate it. I don't know how to do it. I've not seen anybody else do it because I hadn't discovered YouTube University yet. I had, but not for drones. And but it all came together, and now this is what I do. And here we are. I mean, I met the guy on the top left at a dinner in Denver because I had a beard. That's a true story.
I didn't make that decision though. That was a David decision.
Well, you're kind of glad now. You're kind of glad you did. Yes.
I'm not going to argue with it. It was a good one.
Yeah. So it's been a good trip. I mean, one of the things I love about DLC is that, I feel that I'm fairly active on there, and I'm always answering questions. I'm always helping people because this is too big for any one of us to handle. I mean, there's no way that we could do everything that can be done with drones by ourselves. I mean, I teach a class on DLC, and one of the things you've got to niche down. You got to find your space that works for you. Alan, you're more of a creative guy. Yes. Yeah. You try to be.
Trying.
You
Not
try.
as much as I like to be. Yeah.
Me, I was a pastry chef for a lot of years, so I can do creative when it comes to chocolate and sugar. But when it comes to this, I'm not the creative. I don't do videos. Yeah, there are some videos on my channel, but those are basically just what the client wants, and they've given me permission to put up. I'm more of a data guy. I like looking at numbers. I like processing data and figuring stuff out. And 10 to 15% of my job is actually flying drones. And now it's expanded to it's even less than that because I've gotten into the reality capture side on the inside of the buildings, and that's a whole nother project. That's just it's great for when it's too snowy, cold, windy, rainy, to have that ability to go do something inside with it in this space that I'm in. But drones are my first love, and I started with an Air 2, moved on to an Air 2S, and now I have an M3E. And the difference between the Air 2S and the M3E is night and day. It is the Air 2S was painfully slow compared to the M3E. I mean, I can map a 30-acre site in about 10 to 15 minutes. In fact, there's a job where due west of here that it was a 40-acre site basically, and it took me an hour and a half and 6 batteries to fly with my Air 2S. And then I got my M3E, and it took 1 battery and 20 minutes for the same ground sampling distance. And it just changed everything for me. And once I did that, it's like, okay, now I can start digging deep into this and getting traction with the company that I work for, and that worked out really well for me. And now I subcontract to them for drone work and interior work, and it's just been an amazing journey. And my day starts at 1 a.m. and goes until 7 p.m. from 1 to 5. 1 to 5 is a good time frame. I work on the wet dog side, and then I go to my day job and I work that until 3:30, and I've got an hour and a half drive home because I live way out east on the plains. But it's a great journey, and I'm at that point with this where I've got 1 foot on the dock and 1 foot in the boat, and the boat's trying to leave, and I don't want to take that foot off the dock because I'm afraid, but I'm not really afraid because this is definitely going to work. And drone launch has been an amazing thing because if I have questions, I can ask them. And Dusty, you can call me out on this, but I kind of feel like a mentor on DLC because I think I give more than I take. I mean, I don't ask a lot of questions because I don't know how to explain that, but it just feels like that I'm not complaining in any way. This because I think it's awesome. Because so one of the things that happened out of that dinner in Denver that night was I met a name Al Spina. He's probably on here and he's probably said hi to me in the chat, but that's neither here. But he and I have formed a relationship that I'm teaching him what I do, and he actually is the one that got me on the interior side, and that has worked out very beneficial for me financially, which is an awesome thing. But I spend a lot of time with Al. We have daily phone calls because, well, I don't have anything to add to that. We just have daily phone calls where we discuss our day, and we fly together, we shoot interiors together, and he's actually kind of becoming part of the Wet Dog Drone family. And when I eventually moved back east, it looks like Al's going to take over the operations for all my clients here in Colorado, and it's because of DLC that we met, and yeah, it's working out well now. I know I talk too much, Dusty, so say something.
No, you're doing great. No, and I mean, no, it's awesome. And what's cool about this is, honestly, this is a lot of how our meetings go. We had at 4:00 Central Time today, just a couple hours ago, we did a discussion on this on the FPV. So in our community, every month we get together and we talk about business, FPV. We do a happy hour. And it's more just getting together. I know what it's like to get out there trying to figure this out. You're on Facebook, you're on the Commercial Drone Pilots Network, you're on all the forums, and you're trying to figure out all these questions. And it's like you have a question that pops into your head. So you're Googling that, then you're searching all these forums and responses and stuff. And so a lot of times, like especially with some of the stuff on Facebook, I've noticed that you got to be very careful about the questions you ask and how you ask that question. You can get thrown under the bus pretty quick.
That can be brutal. I've seen that happen a lot.
Yeah. There's times that I feel sorry for people because I know I've been there, and it's just like you're afraid you always hear there's no stupid questions. And I really feel that way. But I mean, you shouldn't. There are some stupid questions, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, we all started from different places in life, and that's the cool thing about our community. We've got guys that are just in this because they like to fly drones. We got some guys that are in this because, guys we got a lot of guys like Michael that have a good business that are figuring things out, and they enjoy, kind of sharing their experiences and their knowledge with other people, and then watching them grow at that point. And there's a lot to be said just from a lot of people really enjoy that. And it is kind of one of those things. It's more fun to have somebody along for the ride than it is to try to figure out on your own. And, there's times like I'll walk in and I'll do something. I think I was on that phone with Alan when I crashed. Didn't crash. I just had an FPV drone. I forgot to swap batteries on and just landed on top of the North Little Rock tram station of all things, and like the tallest building in North Little Rock. And, I was on the phone with Alan. It's more just expressing frustration because it took about 2 hours and a lot of money to get that thing down. But then you also say that there's a customer that you've got an idea that you want to hey, this is somebody I feel like could benefit from my business. And so you kind of talk about that, and then nobody's really too shy to tell you what they have found that works and doesn't work for them in the community.
No, one of the things that, talking about getting back to that Facebook group, it's I pop in there every once in a while because I'll get a notification and I'll look at it. It's like, oh crap, I need to grab my popcorn because this is going to be fun. Because somebody will ask a question that has been answered and answered and answered and answered and answered. And I don't spend enough time on Facebook to know, is there a search function that I can go back through and ask my questions? That is one of the things that with DLC, we've got that little search box up on there, and it's actually AI enabled. And all I got to do is type in a word, and it'll show me every time that word has been mentioned in the history of DLC, and it gives me the ability to dig deep into that. But yeah, Facebook, that drone, that's actually worse than Reddit. I mean, I commercial UAS on Reddit, UAV mapping on Reddit, and there's some great guys on the Reddit side. Elf Trooper, amazing guy. I've got a lot of information out of him. Always willing to help. And one of the things, and I think I can, if Al's in here, maybe he can chime in in the chat. I feel that what I do is we're all on the same road. Some of us are further down the road, some of us are further behind us, but I'm just showing you the way that I've done it. It's your job to take what I've done and do your thing and make it better. We all stand on the shoulders of giants, and what we do with that is what we do with it. And the side of my business is doing really amazing right now is thanks to Al, because he came in one day and said we were shooting a job up in Severance, Colorado, and he said, "Do you want me to bring my 360 camera?" I was like, "For what?" He said, "Well, I do interiors," and he comes from the real estate side, and I hadn't looked at this at all. And he shows up with his camera, and he shoots all this interior, and he shows me this thing called iGuide, and it's really great. And I show it to my boss, and my boss lost his mind because he said, "You can do that," and I said, "Yeah." I spent $900 that day on a new camera, and the camera's paid for itself several times over because this is something that my company that I work for wanted me to do for them, and they're paying me as a subcontractor to do it. And yeah, it's like I said, we're all on that same path. We're at different places in our journey, and one of the great things about DLC and the relationships that I've built with DLC is, that I have somebody to lean on or ask a question to or give advice to. I mean, it's one of the things that I really enjoy about it.
Yeah. And what's cool about, I think especially when we all first get into drones, like the one thing is like, we know how we want to make money. We know that the avenues that for the most part that are out there to make money. And a lot of people, and we were talking about this, I think Alan, you and I were talking about this, and I was talking about this to Gary and some other guys that I was hoping to be on here, but they're not here. But it's like the real estate thing. Everybody talks about, oh, real estate is, there's too many people in real estate. It's oversaturated. And, what I was kind of leading up to before Alan hopped off here too is what you're getting into with the 360 stuff. And so like now, and I would say like we've got several members on here that have really gotten into the real estate stuff. They've either gone through like the Drone Launch Academy, Real Estate Media Pro course, or they've kind of gotten in from hooked up with some of the other members in the community. And now they have, we've got some guys that are just kind of like Kyle Phillips, who I was hoping was going to be on here. He was wanting to get really big in the thermal and was just swearing he'll never do real estate. And then at one point, I think it was about a month or two ago, he put a message out there. He's needing help at this point because he's getting some real estate stuff where you can't handle it all. And so the same thing with like Gary, they just figure out a way to kind of niche themselves out. And so I think that there's plenty of opportunity to do it, but it helps so much to hear about, another person that you can talk to and ask questions to see them doing it, and then to be able to ask all the questions that you want to ask somebody. Like that you can't do it on a Facebook group or whatever, because you can't. There's 10,000 members or whatever on there, and Vic Moss is a great, smart guy, but there's no way that everybody
Vic is
can answer.
amazing.
Go ahead, Michael. Yeah.
I said Vic is amazing, but I just saw something come up here in the chat real quick, and I'm going to answer this because I don't want it to get lost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Matthew Paul. I'm sure there'll be an email address or something. I'll put it in here later. Reach out to me. I've got jobs in northern Colorado around Boco that we're currently working. If you want to come out and fly with me, let me know. Thanks. All right, back to this. Sorry. And that's not to interrupt. That's one of the things that I do. We've got another guy on DLC that has come out on jobs with me because you know what, I'm not worried about the competition. I'm really not. And I figure that the more people that are doing this, the more the norm it becomes, the less hassle we have on job sites when we're flying from the public. It's one of those things that I fully believe in the value of what I'm doing. And I want to share that with as many people as I possibly can. Somebody, she's sitting back there, and says I'm a teacher at heart, and I just like to share my knowledge with anybody. I mean, Hannah, where are you at? I know you're in here, Hannah, because I've seen you talk. Hannah sent me a email after the webinar last week with David, saying that she was going to be the annoying person. I've answered her emails, and we've chatted, we've talked, and hopefully I've got her in a path that we can continue, because she's got questions, and I am always willing to answer questions, and I enjoy it because I enjoy answering questions, because if I don't know the answer, I will tell you, but I will also tell you I will get back to you with an answer. because I don't know everything there is to know about drones. That's just too much. That is, I am I am so niched down to where I am. This is what I know. I can talk for days about this. If you ask me something about this, I'll get back to you. You know, in the military, it was always the difficult we can do immediately, the impossible, that's going to take a minute. I will find you an answer and I will get back to you. It's just, that's who I am as a person. That's who I am on DLC. It's just who I am. And I enjoy doing that because it helps me grow by you asking questions that I don't know the answers to, that I've got to go out and find that information so that I can answer your question. So, yeah. Beverage time.
No, and, kind of just piggybacking real quick off of what Michael was leading into, so Alan is a guy that is retired recently, for the most part, retired from the post office, living in Louisiana, and just trying to figure out a way to make some money and just kind of just kill some time doing something fun that he likes to do. And we've talked a lot about drones. I've gotten Alan now into some FPV drones, and that's been fun. But recently, just through maybe one of the happy hours of some of the conversation that we've had with Michael, talking about the 360 stuff. That is one of those things. Now Alan has gotten the new Insta 360 R1, is getting big into that and just figuring out, hey, this is maybe another foot in the door, another way to lead off with some of this. And so it's one of those snowballs, really, just somebody kind of gets an idea, and then it's really cool to kind of see that snowball and spread across the community and people taking it and run with it and getting success with it. And it's so much easier to do something with somebody else there with you, whether it works or it doesn't most of the time. It's more fun to do it with somebody else. But when you can actually do it and test things out and say, hey, this worked, hey, this didn't work, that's when the community really seems to, to be powerful for a lot of people. So for me especially.
Yeah, and I've had some other people piggyback, because they've heard about me. They've talked to Dusty, and I've been talking to them about 360. They're getting into it, and I'm really, using Michael as a reference. And another thing, I kind of had to take a phone call there, so I blipped out for a little bit. But one thing, a lot of us get down and we're hard on ourselves. And a lot of times I get inspiration because we get on our little phone call, our happy hours or whatever. And, you hear this guy that's been doing it, it's been successful, and you realize it's not going to be overnight. And you get some inspiration from other people, or somebody that was saying, like you mentioned, Kyle Phillips. He was struggling. He was, hey, I can't get no work doing this. And all of a sudden, like Dusty said, he's so busy. He hadn't even been getting in our meetings because I think he's so busy. So it's good to hear that from other people. And another guy just posted he had his first $1,000 month, and he's a lot of us been doing this for a couple of years, and I've been doing it for a couple of years, and I haven't made a lot of money, but I've enjoyed it, and I'm hoping to get to the point where I can start recouping some of that investment, or at least feel like I'm breaking even. So.
Yeah. So it's just go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say, I'm going to post up in the chat. For those that don't know, when we're talking about 360 stuff, I'm going to post the link up in the chat that you can open in another tab and play with that later, just so that we're all on the same page.
Yeah. So real quick, I know we got a lot of people sticking with this, so I appreciate that. And to be honest with you, this is a lot of how a lot of our meetings go. We've got an agenda like, hey, we're going to talk about this. Then just depending on who shows up, we'll just kind of go with it from there. And that's where I feel like I learned. I've been to happy hours and learned stuff about drones that I had no idea. As many years I've been to it, I've never learned that a Air 2S could do this or that just because somebody brought it up in conversation. So, of course, real quick, what I'm going to do is just post. We're going to do a coupon code. This will be where you can join 1 month trial, 1 month for just $1. And, if you don't like it, just cancel after that. But if you just even join for the 1 month, you'll get access to all both of the live Q&A sessions, all the workshops, all the drone discounts and everything. All that will be available to you for just $1. But I wanted to go ahead and just keep the conversation going. And I want this to be let's go ahead and if you got questions or anything like that, feel free to, ask questions. I'd rather just keep the conversation going. Let me go ahead and throw this out there. Just so we can do it. And then, let's just keep the drone conversations going. So it's just DLC community. I'm putting this in the chat. If you put that in, you should be able to get your first month for just $1, and then that'll get you into the, it'll be 30 days from whenever you sign up, and so that'll get you into the 2 Q&As and all the other benefits. So, but if you do sign up, here's the one thing that I do want to say, and Michael and all of us have talked about this before. We've got a lot of members that have been there since the beginning, since for almost 2 years, and I can tell that the members that really do get something out of it, that I see that are really accelerating in their business, whatever, are the ones that show up and go to the meetings, go to the live events, get plugged in, and it's just, you only get in as much as you get as much as you put, out as what you put in, and that's like everything else in life. And you're not going to find a better group of people to get plugged in with that are wanting to see you succeed and sharing each other's successes. And we've got places to where you share your successes, but my favorite is to share your fails. And I think I probably got more posts there than anybody, because I think I've got more drone crash stories than. And of course, look at my wife got me this shirt, which very fitting, I think, for me right here. But yeah.
So I'm just going to jump in here. I'm looking at it right now. 504 members. I did a rant. I get irritated, and it's. So I look at this community as a personal thing for me. I had no involvement in the beginning of it. I'm not a founding member. I was with another group at the time, spending more money than what I'm spending now. And yes, I do pay for membership. So this isn't, I'm speaking out of the same place you are. One of the things that really bugs me is I'm looking at it right now. We have 504 members on DLC. Dusty, how many were on the call today?
I think we had 10 or 8.
10. Yeah. 10. I look at that number every time we're on a call. And I'm not knocking anybody. If you're a member of DLC and you're watching this, you need to be on these calls, because it says FPV doesn't mean that we're just talking about FPV. It diverged and devolved into something else today. 3D printing came up today, and then that was a whole nother 10 minutes of conversation. It is, you never know what you're going to get. We have people that come on here. Bardwell, what's his first name?
Joshua Bardwell.
Joshua. We had him on last month, and it was amazing.
We can ask him questions directly.
Yeah. And you get inside to pick his brain, and it's just amazing. But getting back to that, 504 members, 10 people on a call, and it doesn't matter. And I'm not calling anybody out, but we're the same people on every call. It is the same people. Alan, you're one of them. Obviously, Dusty, because he's running the call. Me, I'm there, or I show up a little bit late, but I broke that habit. I'm always early now. I'm there before the host gets there, Dusty. But yeah, it's you need to take advantage of these things because they help. You're dealing with a bunch of like-minded people that we're all trying to achieve the same goal. We want to fly drones and make money. It's not my goal. My goal is I want to fly an autonomous robot that shoots lasers at the ground. That's what I want to do, because there's more money in that. And we're working on that. Wet Dogs is working on that. But you take advantage of what is available here. I mean, is this a sales call? Unfortunately, yes, it is. But I get nothing out of this. Alan gets nothing out of this. Dusty, he's an employee, so he doesn't count. I saw that little head shake.
Man, I get more out of it than I should.
Right, but
I learn a lot.
Alan and I are here just because we believe in what we have here. So, anyway, I'm gonna stop now because I tend to talk too much, and y'all know.
No, and I'll tell you, I've got the years just kind of. I've got a lot of experience with drone work, and I've done mapping, and I've been one of those guys that I've never become. Especially in the front end, never really become a master of doing anything, but I could do mapping, modeling, whatever you needed. And then I started realizing that's, just really wanted to focus on something. And FPV kind of became my niche, like cinematography became my thing. But that's just the cool thing about, I've been a member of some of these other paying websites, and I'm not going to knock on any of these other websites because I think there's value into any of this. It's like with a 107 course. I'm not going to say that the Drone Launch Academy course is any better than any of the other courses out there. I think if you study for 107, you don't even necessarily have to purchase a 107 course to do it. It's just about a matter of plugging yourself, surrounding yourself with something that's going to keep you motivated and just kind of in that right mindset. And so, like, I've paid for some of these other communities, though, and you get free courses and all this, and that's good. But what I found out is, like, maybe 6 months into it, I never logged back in again, and I was paying for an annual membership or something that didn't get anything out of it. With this, I would tell you, like, there's no doubt I would be a member of this, whether I was a community manager or not, because it is a group of friends that I've gotten to where I talk to a lot of these guys on a daily basis. But I mean, it's also almost been like an accountability partner to where they kind of know me personally, my situation, like kind of my wife's expectations of what my business should be doing or whatever. And so I can always talk to these guys and just tell them where I'm at, the jobs that I've been doing, the time my drone's stuck in a tree for the third day and I can't get it down or whatever. I mean, those are the kind of things that we brainstorm on. And, we get on some of the happy hours and we don't talk anything drone related. And then sometimes we get into more technical drone stuff. And I've ever been on a 3-hour mapping course. So you just never know what's going to come up with some of it. But cool thing is we've got some great people in here that, like Michael and Alan and I wish that Gary and some other guys could have joined us.
I think Kyle's backstage. If you could, I think he's.
Oh, I see Kyle. Kyle's on here. There we go.
Oh, there he is.
So we got Kyle.
Hey.
Been hiding over here for like 10 minutes.
Well, we're talking about you, man. I hope
That's all right. We started 15 minutes late, so
I'm sorry.
You're early.
Yeah. Called in. So.
No, dude, we're talking about the community, man. And I was bragging on here a little bit earlier because I know that, talking off just on the front end, like he went out and got his level 1 thermography certification and all this. But now then you got to the point where you're like, I'll never do real estate. And then here we are. And, so Kyle is, a friend of mine that was same guy that, I think we're on a group chat that probably messages at least once before I get out of bed every morning, all you East Coast guys. So.
I can't even keep up with that group chat anymore. Like it's like ping, ping, ping every I'm like, oh my God. But that's good though. Everyone stays in touch. I like that.
Kyle, if you don't mind, just kind of give a real quick spill about just, who you are, how you got into drones and how you found the community and what do you get out of the community?
Oh man. I'm Kyle. I own and operate Flight Imaging. I want to say I found DLA maybe a year and a half ago, a year ago at least. Kind of just rolled into it for courses. I forget which one I took first, but I think the one that kind of sunk in with me was the Drone to 1K. I think I was in that first class on the first launch. And then I pretty much just took as many courses I think I could at the time, which was like 4 or 5 of them. And then so I've pretty much done almost all the courses and been a member. Well, I think I'm a founding member. I've been here for a while. And community is a great tool. It's, with this aspect of it, anytime you have a question, anytime you need any information, you can always come to this group and DLA to get pretty much any answer you need. And there's a wealth of knowledge between all the people on here, especially the people that have been doing this for a while, that you can learn a lot from. So, it's been great so far, No, and
what I was talking about too is one of the things that was just kind of cool about your story was, I know that you wanted to do the thermography thing, really interested you, and you explored some different things, and then I don't know if it was Gary or what was really kind of the push over the edge, but kind of like the real estate thing started taking off. And
I think I got into this like pretty much. I think any new person gets into this and is like, I'm gonna do all of it because I don't know what I'm gonna do and I don't know what I'm gonna be good at, and if I'm going to turn this into a business and not a hobby, I want to make as much money doing whatever I can do. And then it just doesn't work out that way. Like it's almost impossible to niche down into every single thing. You're going to get overwhelmed and it's not fun. So yeah, like Dusty said, I tried getting into thermography first, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna maybe try to go into something that's not as saturated as real estate or just general like cinematography stuff. And I got the certification, which I don't think there was any use for it, but it was at the time it was a free course and it didn't cost $2,200 like some of the other ones cost. So it was, I guess, like a good notch on the belt to have, I guess, if that ever opens up. But I think that plays into where you live. Like in my state, I live in Rhode Island. Drones are not like ginormous out here yet, but drone businesses, it's not anything like Florida. We can't fly year round. I haven't flown in probably 2 or 3 months now because of the weather, and so it's tough to run a full-time business here. But yeah, so I kind of had to make do with what I had, and I wasn't obviously seeing any thermal work here. I wasn't even seeing any mapping work here. I was trying third-party companies. I was doing work for Bees 360. I was doing work for Droners.io. I did a couple jobs for Skylink. I've done a bunch of different things, and ended up randomly landing into like steady work late last summer, just from word of mouth and just from constantly going up and flying and taking pictures of stuff, and it ended up working out. I ended up hooking up with a landscaping company, and doing a photo shoot of like $100,000 patio they put in this mansion in my state, and the company of the paving stones that were put in for the patio called me, and I've been doing work for them. I ended up getting like 30 job contract, going out taking pictures of like craziest thing. Not even 80% of it wasn't even drone. It was more photography. But you never know what you're going to land in. So even if it's not what you want, if you're making money, money's green. So you got to pay for this expensive equipment one way or another.
Yeah.
But it worked out, and hopefully it ramps up again. I've already got a couple messages, so we'll see how this year goes. Hopefully it was better than last year.
Yeah.
But it's tough. I got promoted at work, and I have a full-time job on top of this. I'm not as lucky as Gary. Speaking of which, where are they?
Yeah, I think that we lost because we were late, man. I know we're missing a couple of guys here.
But yeah, Gary can go full-time and do it all day long. I wish I had the ability to do that, but I can't. So it's just like I work full-time, and then I have to squeeze in these jobs on the weekend, or I got to squeeze them in after work. And right now is not the season, so it's just been slow.
I mean, the cool thing about that though is Kyle, I don't think like when you and I ever first met that we would ever be having a discussion about, having to squeeze in jobs here and there, and like the same way I like when there's like not enough work to where I'm like, hey, I'm making, $200,000 a year doing drone work or anything like that. But I mean, it just, it's like the first time you make any money doing drone work, it's just fun. You almost feel like you're doing something wrong. Sometimes when I'm flying drones, I'm like, I can't believe somebody's paying me for this, whatever. But and yet,
so one of the nice things about doing this is that I'm at that point where my hobby I don't pay for anymore. The business pays for. That is an amazing thing. That I'm not moving money from my checking account to the business checking account to pay the bills. Now it's kind of self-sufficient, and that's an awesome thing. That's an awesome space to be in.
It is, especially if you're married.
I mean,
that's huge.
What he said. I mean, if anything, if you started your business already, you're in the process of it. If anything, I mean, if you can pay off your equipment, you're ahead of the game. And I'm into it. I can't even tell you how much I've got into this right now, but I got like 3 payments left on my equipment, and
I'll just throw this out there. I mean, my mapping rig for everything that I've got for mapping, and that's that was my primary function until I bought a 360 camera. But my mapping rig was $7,000, and that was for the drone, for the GCPs, for the DA2 shoot ground control points. That does not include Pix 4D. There's a hack for that that I paid less for. Yeah, that was just $7,000 all in, and that's paid for itself. And the 360 camera, that's paid for itself. So I mean, everything that I do, yes, I have monthly expenses, my insurance, my E&O insurance. That's something that not everybody thinks about, because I carry error and omission insurance, because if I turn data over to a construction company and it's wrong, yeah, that can come back and bite me in the butt. So, but all of that is covered with what's coming in on the drone side. So I mean, it's a nice place to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I will.
And I was thinking too.
Go
No,
ahead.
I was just thinking kind of like, well, I was just thinking too, like even one of the things that's been cool about the community is, like I know, like when we all first get started, everybody jumps in with drone base or drone ingenuity or Beast 360, whatever. And so one of the things that's been interesting is so we've got pilots, I mean, all across the world that are in drone launch, but of course, the majority are in the US. And so we're spread out. So it is kind of interesting to hear like pilots that are doing a lot of work for Beast 360 here, or like some pilots that have never heard of drone ingenuity or Zyte or whatever. I'll tell you, like in Arkansas, you're not going to get famous flying drones, that's for sure. But there's some guys that we've got, like, I was hoping that Joel would be able to make it on here, because I think he had, I don't know, like 20 something jobs in 1 month from Beast 360 or whatever. And a lot of that, though, I think he found out about Beast 360 from another Drone Launch Connect community member at that point. So it's just,
Beast is tough because they don't pay very well. You'll get a lot of work.
Maybe it wasn't Bees. Maybe it was, I don't know, but whatever it was a lot of work. Yeah.
I'll tell you, where I live, I haven't seen one job. I've been a member, or whatever you want to call it, on Drone Ingenuity, on Flyboys, on all of them, Droners.io, everything. I've never seen anything come through. The only thing that comes through religiously is Beast 360 jobs, and good luck getting paid from that company. Like, it's
that's what I was.
You have to pump out. I mean, you literally have to have no job to make money doing that, because you'd have to do like 5 or 6 a day to make it worth it.
Well, it's like I had Alan. I was talking to Alan on the phone earlier today, and like I've had a lot of success first starting off with Drone Ingenuity, and then they've kind of, I guess, have had some change in staff there, because that's kind of, it's been up and down. But they were paying a lot of, and then I was telling Alan, I'm not allowed. I got really crossways with Zyte and Drone Base. I'm not flying for them anymore, and they told me I'm not. So, that's so frustrating dealing with some of those companies. But it is good to hear and get some feedback and see what's going on. And you can tell there's different pockets, but it's all about that communication. I feel like the more you know, the smarter everybody is. And so that's the cool thing about, like, with drones and the technology, remote ID. Like with some of the Q&As we've had, Lucas, can't remember how to pronounce his last name, but he's the founder of Drone Tag. He's been on, and to get, last week we had the late girl from the local FISDO here in Little Rock from the FAA, just talking about kind of what's giving us a little bit of an update, what's going on from the FAA's end. And, there's so much in this industry. It's just hard to, like Mike was saying earlier, there's no way you can ever get your hands around all of it. So if you can kind of be a part of one of these groups and get together with some people that are willing to share some knowledge and help each other out, and that are excited and passionate about it. And, the cool thing about it is, like, all my friends here, they know I love drones, and I've got guys that'll go and be a VO with me. But at some point in time, I know that they just tune me out because they don't care about some of the stuff. But we go on some of these happy hours, and I have to go put the kids down and just let it go, just because everybody's still talking about whatever the topic is. So at the end of the day, though, and I don't want to keep rambling, let somebody else jump in. There obviously is a sales pitch, but at the same time, like whether it's Drone Launch Connect or whatever, just find a community and plug yourself in with. Surround yourself with somebody that's going to be somebody that you can. It's going to be encouraging that you can share successes and failures with. That's just life, and so you don't want to go through it by yourself. And anytime that you can learn from somebody else's experiences, you're just going to accelerate your own growth. And we're all here just to help people out. I feel like that's the overall mission of Drone Launch Connect and these guys sitting here with me right now.
Yep.
Give it a shot. I'd say stick around for at least more than a month because there's a lot on there. There's a lot of workshops. There's a lot of good information. You go back to a lot of the Q&As. You can watch the Joshua Bardwell Q&A. We had Ken Herron on. I think he was one of our first guests. And, these are people that have Paul Nurk from Nurk FPV. These guys have been doing it. Ross has a drone. He's one of the first guys that followed a golf ball with an FPV drone, and he's been on a couple times. And he's, he'll if you send him a message in the community, he'll respond to you. So
what was the FAA lady we had on
Cheney
last week?
Cheney Pitts.
Shaded, yeah. So we have we have the ability to talk to the FAA, or at least the FAA.
Well, we've got between Kevin Ols, which is another guy that's not here, and that's a guy that it would be a great one to have on because he is a guy that has made a creative following just on social media, going on cruises, just posting a lot, doing things. I mean, man, he got the drones in the middle of COVID and now has, I don't know, I didn't even check, but probably a few 100,000 followers. I'm not sure on Instagram. And, he acts like he acts like Columbo. Acts like he doesn't know what he's doing sometimes about it. But he's by far one of the smartest guys out there with it.
You need to clarify the Columbo reference for some of our younger people.
I figured so. For a lot of you younger guys, it's one of those ways to get what you want by acting like you don't know what's going on. And I tell you, Kevin acts like one of these guys that doesn't know a lot, but then you get to meet him. And when we did our live event in Florida, Kevin mentioned one night, like, hey, I'm going to get up early and do some sunrise shots and hyperlapses and stuff. And I don't know. I just knew I've been there for a couple of days. I wasn't going to get up early, and I get up and go to breakfast. And I don't know how many people ended up coming for that deal. And, I think there's probably 7 or 8, if not more, guys got up crack of dawn to go get up with Kevin to go do some shots. And I heard it was just good stuff, And
hey, just real quick, I just saw it come up in the chat over here. Do we have an actual link that we can post in the chat? Because people are having problems finding DLC.
Here is the link to DLC. Now, you should be able to use that. I'll post that discount code in here.
And they're telling me it's not working.
Okay. Well,
I'm just, trying to interrupt.
Well, that's because I'm the one that's setting this up. Audrey is not there, so.
Well,
Audrey
I'll
tell you what, we'll do it for. What's it? You go ahead. I feel like you should be running this thing, Michael.
Audrey answered an email for me like at 6 a.m. this morning. So it was at 8 a.m. East Coast. I don't know where Audrey is, but she does a great job for us. Yeah, so East Coast time. So 8 o'clock, but yeah, so.
Here's the link, and the code should be. Let me double check and see. And that's the other thing, guys.
Is that Audrey typing? Who's answering?
That's me. It's me.
Oh.
I think I'm signed in twice.
Shame on you.
You don't want me running any. I'm better with a drone than I am a computer. That's for sure.
Yeah, and that's why I spent the first 15 minutes talking about technical issues. Trying to keep people here.
All right, and so for everybody that I'll tell you what, I'm going to make sure that if this doesn't work, we'll send out some sort of an email. But I'm also going to put my email in here. Just if you try out the discount code and it doesn't work, feel free to shoot me an email, and I'll make sure that we get all this worked out. And I apologize for kind of as bush league as this whole presentation seemed at that point. But I've had a great time with everyone here. So
yeah, this I'm just going to point out, this is the first time that we, Dusty, myself, Alan, and Kyle. Thanks for coming, Kyle. Kind of late, but I'd expect that from somebody from Massachusetts, right? No, you're Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. Okay, so you're not the masshole. Sorry if you are from Massachusetts. I spent a lot of time there in my younger years. Yeah. So if there's questions that I can answer, if there's problems, Dusty just posted his in chat. I've posted mine multiple times. I don't have the direct connection that Dusty has. I am kind of working on that in secret in the background. but that's yet to be seen. Just reach out. I mean, we are always willing to help. So.
Yeah, and if you go on Drone Launch Connect, it's connect.dronelaunchacademy.com, and you select the 7-day trial. There's a place for a coupon code.
Okay, thanks, Alan.
That's where you put your
Yeah.
you put your card, then your coupon code in there, and But I'd give it more than a month. I mean, it's you can always cancel at any time. We hate to lose you, but
you know what else? If you pay for the full year up front, and here we go into the sales pitch.
That's
you
true.
have you have access to the live event that we do annually that I missed last year because, well, life happens, business happens. But you want to touch on that one, Dusty?
Yeah, no, you're right. I didn't ready. So we do the live event. We're not the best planners about things, but we are going to do a live event. But if you do the annual membership, you get a discount. I can't remember. It's around 10% discount, maybe give or take. But then you also get a free ticket to the live event, which there's still if you're a member, you still get to come to the live event. There's just a little bit of a cost to it, but yeah, and I'll tell you, like, I'm not going to mention any names, but I paid an annual membership for some things at front. Didn't get near. It's like anything else. You're only going to get out as much as you're willing to put in, but it's I can give you a lot of different ways to spend that amount of money worsely on them per month, because I've done that before at the same time too. So that's you look at, like, if I had a buddy the other day was telling me, he's like, man, do you know how much kettlebells cost? And think about what you're investing in at that point in time. He wanted to buy. He's talking about 2 kettlebells can cost him $100, but at the same time, I'm like, man, you're gonna spend $1,200 to be a member of a gym or whatever. So it's just I think it's invest in yourself, and if you do make the investment in yourself and you want to get better and get plugged in, it's like Michael said, show up and and that's the good thing. I feel like a lot of our communities start to really come around because people are starting to realize that they don't have to be reserved or shy for the most part, because we'll throw ourselves out there. Almost got to the point where let's see who can embarrass themselves the most at some point in time. But I think I'm probably a hard one to be.
Hey, at least you don't have the black eye right now, because last week this would have been awesome. Yeah. Last week he had
and I wish I had a better. I say, join it to me. I'll give you the black eye story.
Yeah, the story's not that good. It's really
very
not that good.
Garey,
it is.
Is that why he's not here?
What, the black eye?
Yeah.
It's a good story when the doctor's showing you up and he's like, you really need to work on your story. Long story short, I fell in the middle. I got up to go pee and just fell, and I have no idea what I hit my head on. So,
yeah, you definitely got something cooler than that.
So it said, George, I said that you said something about provide the information about 360 that Michael was talking about. Talking about like the 360 tours. Did you put that up?
I posted the link in chat, and
okay.
So 360 tours. Basically, I am, and I'll post the link again because it's really far up in the chat. Basically, what I am doing is I am shooting interiors for construction companies, and they have me come in at multiple points during the build. If it's a remodel, I'm going to come in, I'm going to shoot the initial conditions. If it's not a remodel, if it's a ground up, I'm going to wait until they are dried in. In the meantime, I'm shooting initial for the drone. I'm shooting the initial site map, and then all the progress up to that point. But once they get dried in, they're going to have me come in. I'm going to shoot the interior of the building. I'm going to take a picture every 7 to 10 feet with the 360 camera. I'm going to put that together in a software called Vista 360. And then I'm going to upload that to my website, and I'll post that momentarily again. It's not the most recent one that I did, but it's the most recent one I have on the website. And it allows them to document their site. It's my 30-second elevator pitch, maybe 60-second, depending on whether I've been drinking, which I shouldn't do on the job. And I actually shouldn't be doing this on a podcast right now or YouTube, but
I'm not recording. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I've been up since 1 a.m., y'all. Okay. So anyway, so my 60, 30-second elevator pitches, look, if I run into the superintendent or the project manager on the job site, this is how it goes. Look, I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but this is just my thought on the process. You as a superintendent, your job is no longer to build buildings. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. Your job is to document the building of the buildings. From the ground up, inside and out, you're out there taking pictures every day. Let me help you with that process. So where I come in with the 360 is that once they get dried in, meaning all the four walls are up, the roof's on, the doors are on-ish, they've got temp doors on, windows have plastic on them, that's dried in. I'm going to go in and I'm going to shoot the MEP. That's the mechanical, the electrical, and the plumbing. So if they have a permanent record of that, permanent record of installation, so that, if there's ever a lawsuit they can show that the work was done, and that protects them. So, that is a huge thing today in construction, because the litigious society that we live in, it's crazy, but they need to protect themselves from lawsuits. So documentation is the key. And that's what we at Wet Dog Drones, whether it be, the rebar that is going into the slab, that it was installed properly, the penetrations in the slab, if one of them got covered when we were pouring the slab, I've got documentation of that so they can go back and find that penetration. There are multiple steps along the construction process where you want somebody to come out and fly a drone, and you want somebody to come out and shoot an interior. And because of Al, I haven't seen him in the chat. He was supposed to be here. Turned me on to, and it has made me a buttload of money in the last 6 months. And I've only been doing that for 5 months. So, I was only introduced to this 5 months ago, or yes, I was introduced to it 6 months ago, but 5 months ago I started offering, and it's been crazy. The software that I use is not cheap. The camera that I use is not cheap, and it's paid for itself. It is, it's because it works, and that's what they want. Anyway, I talk too much.
No, good, dude.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing. John O, we should talk. That was just in the chat.
That's no. So looking at John, so we've also, so this next month I've got coming back. He's been a guest before, but Grant Puckrin is coming back on as one of the Q&A guests for April, and I'm not sure, he's been on the Drone of 1K podcast. He's out of Ohio, and he does, I think it's 19th Aerial is the name of his company, but he does agricultural spraying. And then I'm also going to talk to, so I do some contract work for a guy that owns Arkansas Drone Solutions, and he has now got 2 spray rigs. And so I haven't seen those yet, but I didn't know until we had Cheney with the FAA on last week that Arkansas is like one of the top states for the spray drones. It's like, God, I'm almost embarrassed to know that, but I'm sure it's a lot of these larger companies. It's not guys like me out there with these things doing that for the most part, but so yeah, that's what we've got, guys. We've got, we've got like an online just kind of forum chat space, and you've got stuff that's just kind of a catch-all. Then you've got you can break it down to industry groups based on mapping, modeling, cinematography, photography, FPV, whatever you want. One of the things that I'm really proud of and I really like about the community, though, is when we first started this whole thing, there wasn't a whole lot of FPV stuff. And I will say that I'll take a little bit of pride into it. The past year and a half, I think I've gotten a lot of guys in FPV. And, we have a lot of people show up for the FPV discussions that aren't into FPV yet at this point. But, it's, we get into the discussions and we do some of the stuff and we get together, and it is fun.
Yeah, that's where I started out. And like I said, for me, I got hooked on FPV with a YouTube video. It's like, oh, I got to figure out how to do that. I figured out how to do that, and then I got what I thought was good at it. And then I went to this Saturday night event at one of the local parking garages, and we're flying. And what I hadn't experienced yet at this point was the fact that there's ceilings, post-tension concrete slab with concrete I-beams. It's just like, yeah. So the whistle blew, we all took off, and then I just got this snow screen because I just crashed this $600 drone in the concrete. But like I said earlier, I was making screw you money. I didn't care because it was nothing for me. Just okay, I'm going to build a new drone. But that didn't last very long, and well, yeah, it got real expensive. And then, well, now I'm here, so I could buy that $600 drone or build that $600 drone and not sweat it because the business supports itself and it supports my habit.
Yeah. Well, that's like I was talking to Alan, if members of Drone Launch cannot get free FPV drone repair services by me, there's just no guaranteed turnaround time or anything like that. Or warranty on it, but
or
I'll
3D,
fix it for you. 3D printing as well.
Yeah, we've got that covered too.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm printing stuff just to print stuff now. I need something. But no, and listen, guys, I know I need to get going, and man, I really appreciate it. We still got a lot of people sticking around with this after all that debacle on the front end. So I really do appreciate everybody
that
being here with us. And let me put my email and contact info out there again, just for if you got any questions or whatever, the code's not working. Feel free to shoot me a message. And again, we're all just here to help each other out. And if Garey would be here, I know he'd be disappointed if I didn't say one team, one fight. That's his thing. So I know it's all right, the military thing as well. But no, I would say that's the general sentiment around the community. And
yeah,
so
on that note, that we're all in this together. Once again, I posted in the chat my email address, and I've already got 3 emails to answer from tonight. So yeah, I appreciate that. And yeah,
cool. All good, Matt. Well, good deal, guys. Man, thanks.
Give us a
thanks
shot.
everybody
We'd
here.
love to have you.
Yep,
yeah.
come in. I'll tell you what, it's worth $1 to come and hear what Alan's going to say at a happy hour. So I couldn't tell you a worse way to spend it.
And then sometimes I get surprised because I'm hosting it and you not.
Yeah, that's when it gets. Yeah,
Like,
sometimes I don't even show up.
Nope.
Yep.
No, I'm not.
But no, thanks, guys. I appreciate everybody. And
we enjoyed
again, don't do it by yourself. Get with some friends. We're put on this earth be around and help other people. So let's have some fun doing it, guys. Y'all take care.
All right. Thanks.
See y'all.